Hi, welcome back to the channel, and for those of you that are new, welcome. I am Leo's Harmony, and we're doing a 3-pile card reading. Please choose your pile, and we can get started with your reading as soon as you do that. We're looking at a very general reading today. We're not doing anything specific, and whatever message kind of comes out is meant for you, and that's what we will kind of look at. So thank you for coming here, and please go ahead and pick your number. Hi, Pile 1, welcome to your reading. We have some pre-shuffled oracle cards here that I'm going to get started with, and then we'll go into some tarot and maybe even some more um, oracle cards at the end to kind of close off the reading. So with your first card here, you got Spear, which talks about how a heartache over what you no longer have. So maybe some of you have lost something. Um, Maybe some of you are sad about a situation that really didn't go your way, but we're going to continue and probably get more information on that. For the next oracle card, you got King Tide. It says plenty, prosperity, and receiving the fullness of life. The next oracle card is Blue Lobster. It says you're one in a million, embrace your rarity. Then you got Clam, which says open up, it's okay to feel vulnerable. Let me make sure that these are neatly placed. Then you have Sand Dollar, which says manifestation and be open to receiving. And for your last card for now, you got Divine Animals. Let's move that there. Now let's pull some more tarot cards and maybe that'll give us some more information about what your reading is about. So let's go ahead and do that. Page of Wands. Ace of Swords. Ten of Pentacles. The Knight of Cups. And the Queen of Swords. So for some of you, this can be about love. Um, Maybe it didn't really work out with someone that you wanted it to work out with. Um, Maybe they kind of said you really weren't the one. Uh, and it kind of like made you fall off into like this mental state where you're like really didn't feel like being vulnerable anymore. And um, maybe like they called you weird or I don't know, they just really didn't think that things would work out with you. And they probably left you if that's the case. This can also talk about maybe a job where like it's something that you really wanted and didn't get. Um, it seems like this is happening for a reason. It's not meant for you. It's something that's so beneath you that you really don't even need to worry about it. Um, you have so many positive cards here talking about receiving the fullness of life and you're one in a million. Embrace your rarity. Another that says clam and open up. It's okay to feel vulnerable. And another that says manifestation, be open to receiving. And then you got divine animals, which is more, they it's kind of like guides um in some cultures, and they kind of like guide you through life and like what you kind of need. Um so it seems like even though this didn't work out the way that you wanted it to, you are going to receive something better because of it. Like maybe if it is about a person, it didn't work out because it wasn't meant for you. Like it really wasn't. And you really should be with someone that embraces how rare you are, like how funny you are, how unique you are, how goofy you are, or whatever. Someone who you can feel vulnerable with, excuse me, and it's something that you feel safe doing with them. It shouldn't be a matter of like, oh, I can't really be myself around this person. And maybe you have manifested like love in the past. Um and it just this isn't what you're trying to manifest. This isn't the person if that's the case. If it's a job, then that isn't the job that you wanted. It's not like what your guides are trying to give you. So I wouldn't really like worry too much because it seems here that you're kind of getting what you want. And I think you kind of realize that with the Ace of Swords. You're kind of like, oh yeah, this isn't really what I wanted, even though it like really felt nice in the moment. Um, the Ten of Pentacles here and the Knight of Cups can talk about how you're kind of receiving everything. Like the Ten of Pentacles is more of like you fulfilling like your material aspirations and like what you really want in life. And if that's love for you, then that's what you're getting. Knight of Cups is more about how like your emotions are being more taken care of, and like things that you want, you're being very romantic with everything. And Queen of Swords is someone who's like very much in tune with herself. She knows what she wants. Um, she is not really worrying. She's very confident. Um, so there really isn't anything for you to worry about. This didn't work out because it isn't meant for you. It's not something that you wanted. It's not what you were trying to manifest. Um, but like this upcoming thing is way better. Like that's actually what you wanted, and that's actually what's going to work out for you. Let's pull some more oracle cards. I was thinking of using a couple more decks for that, and maybe we can close it off with tarot if I feel like that's necessary. So let's see if there's any more information here. Your first card is Star. You got Wild card. Maybe let's do one more. These are all kind of falling out. And Pillar. So it's kind of interesting, and because the Star in tarot kind of talks about like receiving stuff, and you've kind of gotten that already in your reading. Um, with Pillar here, I'm kind of like getting that you're kind of reaching for the stars, and like you've pretty much said you're just like letting go and like letting things come to you instead. And that's pretty much what should be happening for you. Um, with the wild card, I think it's kind of talking about how whatever it was in the past wasn't really meant for you, like this thing that didn't work out for you. Sorry, there was a lot of background noise, but I'm back. So with the wild card, like I was saying, it's kind of like you don't really expect anything with a wild card. You, it's kind of like randomized, and with this wild card, like whatever you kind of like had to like lose, if it is love, for example, like the last person that you dated, it didn't work out because it wasn't meant for you. Like I don't think whatever you're trying to manifest is something that you will expect. It'll kind of come to you whenever it does, and you just really have to surrender yourself with the pillar and the star card to just like not thinking too much about it and worrying about it. It's something that'll kind of like just come to you, and your guides will kind of give it to you when the time is right. And it is something that will get to you in the future, but there really is no like time frame or anything like that. And I think that's on purpose because your guides want you to be patient. They want you to wait for the right time and stop trying to force anything. So that is something that's very important for you to look at and think about. And for a couple more oracle cards, I have a few closing ones that might give us some more information. So let's see what comes out of that. The first one is opportunity. It says there's no use looking for luck. It arrives at unexpected times. What I just said with that. um, let's see what else. It says, and dream, have a cup of tea in the garden, and find yourself in a good book. So it's kind of like you're worrying too much about stuff, and they kind of just want you to let go and have fun and just be in your day-to-day life without having to like worry about what's to come next, instead of like trying to constantly think about like, oh, when is this getting here, oh, I'm so excited for this, or oh, this is what I really wanted. um it will get to you. They just want you to kind of relax and just live your life for now. And maybe one more, give us more information. It says breathe, slow down and contemplate the tea, violets and ivy tangled around the eaves. So again, it kind of seems like you're very much into this whole I want this now instead of like waiting. And that's, some people are like that. That's perfectly fine. But your guides are kind of telling you to like take time for yourself, just live your day-to-day life. Um, Stop worrying so much about stuff. Um, when the time is meant for you to receive that, it will get to you. And that's pretty much what your guides are trying to tell you here. And that's I think that's a very lovely message. I don't think they're being very harsh with you at all. So yeah, pile one. I don't this is a very straightforward reading, like most of mine have been so far. Um I wish you the best of luck. If you did enjoy this reading, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. If you do want a personal reading, it's on my Etsy down below. But I do wish you luck, and I hope that you get this as soon as possible. But you do need to have some patience. Thank you for watching. Hi, Pile 2. Welcome to your reading. I have a couple oracle cards here, and then I'll move into tarot. And then maybe we can get a few more oracle cards towards the end, and then we'll go from there. So, to get started with your pile, you got Sunrise. It says new creative ideas, new ventures, and a fresh start. You also got Metamorphosis, and it says embrace transformation. Things are now different. Let me move those. You also got shark, and it says be careful, proceed with caution. You got seagull, and it says look at the bigger picture, bird's eye view. And then you have sandcastle, and it says everything is temporary, divine timing. We just moved those there. And then for your last oracle card, you got grounding. So it seems like maybe there's something that will change for now. It seems like maybe you're in your head a little bit right now. They're kind of telling you to ground. It also says that you need to be careful with something, to look at the bigger picture, and everything is temporary. So maybe you're going through something right now uh, that will change, and like something new is coming your way with the sunrise, and they might be telling you to be careful because maybe you've made mistakes in the past and you kind of like need to look at the bigger picture instead of focusing too much on details. And you know, whatever you have coming can be taken away from you just as quickly as you got it. So maybe there's a couple warnings here about like having to really learn from your past mistakes. But we will take a look at what tarot has for us, and then we can get started with the rest of the reading. Nine of Wands. You got the Knight of Swords. You got the Lovers. The Ten of Cups. And Ace of Cups. So maybe whatever is kind of coming your way could be a new relationship if that's what you've been wanting. Um, it doesn't have to necessarily be romantic. It could also be a friendship. It can be uh, a career type of thing, but it is coming to you fast, and it is something that you've been wanting. You've been trying to kind of like call into the world, and your guides are gonna like help you with it. Um, but your guides are kind of saying that you really need to be grounding right now. Maybe whatever has happened in the past with whatever job, relationship, or friendship that hasn't worked out is something that you need to kind of work on. This is kind of similar to pile one. Okay, sorry, pile two. I had some background noise, but I'm back. Um, this is very similar to pile one, I was saying, where like they're kind of going through a similar situation, but I think yours is more focused on how things are kind of different for you than they were in the past than their pile was. Um, so you did get metamorphosis, sorry, and that's talking about transformation. And you got the shark here, the seagull, and sandcastle. So maybe you've been very anxious in the past with relationships or jobs or whatever this is entailing for you. And there really is a need for you to kind of ground. There is a need for you to, uh, again, proceed with caution. But I think this is kind of talking about more about your transformation. Maybe you have kind of been overly cautious in the past, and you've been looking at the details way too much. But with the seagull here, it's kind of telling you to look at the bigger picture. And with Sandcastle, it's kind of like warning you about how everything's kind of temporary. how there is divine timing and stuff, and this is something that will come for you like right now, basically. With the Knight of Swords, this is something that's happening very quickly. So let's pull out some more oracle cards, and maybe that'll give us more information. Seems like this card wants to come out. That's light. You got spade. Oop, this one flew out. And you got thaw. So it seems like with the change that's happening, it's kind of funny because like the light can kind of signify the sun here, and thaw, maybe it's like a really cold heart that's kind of like melting away because of the sun. And spade can kind of talk about like digging up the past, or maybe it's talking about how there is like a change that's coming. You know, it's kind of like this is all signifying change. I apologize again, I had some noise. But yes, you're with these three cards, it's kind of signifying change, and it's kind of saying that you need to kind of like maybe change something from the past. That's maybe something in the past hurt you. That could be what it is. And maybe you're, like I said, you're being very careful about stuff. You're so cautious when it comes to love, perhaps. And it really does feel like this new light is kind of like melting that away, and it's like making you change whatever has like this wall that you have up, perhaps. And this something that is like kind of meant for you with divine timing here. And with grounding, it's kind of telling you that this is going to be a part of your change, like you needing to kind of ground and making sure that you don't let anxiety kind of take over, or like your trauma from the past kind of take over. So that's very important to kind of like look at with this. Let's look at a couple more oracle cards to kind of close off the reading, and maybe there it'll give us more information. You got relax, and it says delight and powdered gold sunshine. So again, light kind of comes up again, and as I mentioned, the sun, which is kind of funny. And again, it's your guides just telling you to like relax and to like not really overthink things, because things are going to be fine. You got serenity with valley, quiet days with only the rustling leaves breaking the silence. So maybe you're not really comfortable with silence. That could be one of the like indicators that you have something to work on. Uh, maybe silence makes you anxious, and that's not something that's kind of helping you in this case at all. And it's something that you need to work on. You can get one more. Persevere, leave no stone unturned. So it's kind of mentioning that this will be kind of difficult for you, perhaps. But there really isn't much for you to worry about. I really do think that since this is something that's divine timing, you are protected. But this is like kind of a big thing for you. It's something that will make you kind of change for the better, but it is like kind of breaking down a lot of really bad habits and barriers and all of this other negative stuff that you maybe have that you haven't changed yet. So it will be like this huge transformation for you, but it will make you a much better person in the end. And I do think that this will be very beneficial for you in your spiritual journey and in the future with everything. But that's it, pile two. Thank you for watching. If you do like the reading, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. And as always, I hope that you have a wonderful day. If you would like a personalized reading, the description has my Etsy linked. Thank you for watching. Hi, Pile 3. Welcome to your reading. Let's get started with a couple oracle cards here, and then we'll move into tarot and kind of close off the reading with more oracle cards. So, your first card here, you got Staff, and it says you will be kind of taken care of in difficult times. Your next card is Clear Waters, and it says clear vision, confirmation, right timing, and opportunity. Your next card is Pufferfish, and it says know your limits and boundaries. Your next card here is Manatee, and it says forgiveness, surrender, and release. The other oracle card here is Anchor, and it says have faith and choose optimism. And your last one here talks about soul journey. So maybe whatever is happening now um, is happening for a reason for you. So it talks about right timing here, opportunity, clear vision, confirmation. It also talks about how you're being taken care of in difficult times and soul journey. It talks about knowing your limits, forgiveness, and having faith and choosing optimism. So maybe your mental state right now with whatever you're dealing with is not the best. And your guides are kind of telling you, like, hey, this is part of your journey here in life. This is difficult for you, but we are taking care of you. Rather than seeing this as something that will kind of like hurt you, it's kind of meant to guide you, and you will kind of get growth out of this. I'm kind of getting from these cards. But let's pull some tarot cards to kind of get more information. Let me move this to the side because it's taking up a lot of space, or maybe even turn it. You got two off the bat. Seven of Swords and the Fool. Ace of Cups. The Tower. Let's get one more. And the High Priestess. So maybe someone did hurt you with the Seven of Swords, and it doesn't necessarily have to be someone else. Maybe you hurt yourself as well, because that could also be a possibility. And it's kind of like getting backstabbed here, but it could also kind of be something self-destructive as well. So in whatever way that kind of pertains to you is how it's like meant for it to like kind of get to you as a message. The Tower here also kind of talks about how there's like major change or something that's like really breaking down. Um, with the Fool and the Ace of Cups, maybe you were hoping to start something and it didn't work out. Maybe you were uh, trying something new. It could be like a relationship, a job, uh, really anything. But it definitely did interfere with your heart here. And with the ending here, High Priestess, it's kind of like a confirmation that everything's gonna be fine. So maybe you were pretty much hurt here, like a lot, but in whatever circumstance that is, but you are being taken care of, and this is part of your soul journey. And this is the right timing, it also mentions here, and it's confirmation. Maybe it's meant for like you to kind of sorry, there was some noise there, but I'm back. Um, I think I was saying that maybe you were hurt and you were trying to start something, and there is like a confirmation this and the right timing and opportunity to kind of know that this is a time of like healing for you, perhaps. And with know your limits and boundaries, it can also talk about how maybe your boundaries were messed with in a way that you didn't like. And with Manatee, it talks about forgiveness and surrender and release. So it's kind of like whoever hurt you, or if you hurt yourself, forgive them, surrender to it, and just release it because it's not going to help you in any way. And with Anchor, it says have faith and choose optimism. So in whatever happened with you here, it's kind of like you kind of gave up, and your guides are kind of telling you, like, hey, don't, please don't. So, like, the High Priestess here and the Anchor card, I think, are kind of together in this reading about like choosing optimism and having faith. So, that is something that you perhaps need to work on. Um, but let me pull a few more Oracle cards, and maybe that'll give us more information. Okay, I do apologize if there was some noise here, but I am back. Um, so you got Humanity, Core, and Pillar. So in this deck, Pillar does talk about perspective, and I really do think that this is kind of signifying that your core beliefs are going to change a lot. Your humanity is also kind of being tested, and your perspective on life. So maybe this is like a way for you to kind of like not lose any hope and faith and like choose like a lighter side of you. So maybe your core beliefs are going to change, and not saying that it is like dark right now, but it is a little dark in the picture here. So maybe that could be for some of you, but it does seem like a lot of like your maybe negative thoughts or negative attitude will kind of be better as a result of like this sudden journey that your guides are giving you. Um, let's pull out some more Oracle cards that will maybe give us more information to kind of close this reading. Okay, for your last few Oracle cards, you got Serenity, Release, and Bloom. So it's funny because pile 1 also got Serenity and Pillar. So maybe that could be a pile that you want to look at. Um, with Serenity, it's kind of talking about valuing like a quiet day and, you know, the only thing breaking the silence is the leaves. So maybe it is time for you to like kind of be comfortable in silence and kind of, have a day to yourself. And with release, it's talking about lightening your load. So maybe you are taking on too much. And I think there was like a card here, if I'm not mistaken, Pufferfish, that talks about know your limits. So maybe you are taking on too much. And with Bloom, it also mentions to attract more than butterflies. So I think this is kind of relating to the High Priestess and the Anchor card here that talks about choosing more optimism and having a more like light energy instead of like something darker. Um, so that could be that your guides want you to work on, like kind of moving on from like this whole negative process to something more positive for you. But yeah, pile 3, that's the ending of your reading. If you liked it, please leave a comment, like, and subscribe. And if you do want a personalized reading, then the Etsy is linked below. Thank you for watching.